Alex Weber's fingers moved fast across his keyboard. His eyes never left the computer screen. The clock showed 2:30 a.m., but Alex didn't care. He was close to winning the most important game of his life. Just one more level, he said to himself. Alex was trying to qualify for the Global Gaming Championship. The winner would get $1 million. At age 24, Alex was already known as one of the best players of Galactic Domination, a space strategy game. Online, people called him Death Touch, because he could defeat any opponent. His small apartment in Seattle was quiet except for the clicking sounds of his gaming equipment. Empty pizza boxes and energy drink cans covered his desk. Alex hadn't cleaned in days. The tournament was too important. Almost there, he whispered. On his screen, his virtual fleet was surrounding an enemy base. 5 more minutes and he would win. His heart beat faster as he prepared for the final attack. Then the room filled with a strange blue light. At first, Alex thought it was a problem with his computer. Maybe the graphics card was failing? But when he looked away from the screen, he saw that the blue light was coming from outside his window. What the? Alex stood up and walked to the window. The light was so bright that he had to cover his eyes. It seemed to be coming from above his apartment building. The light suddenly became brighter. Alex felt a strange tingling sensation all over his body. His feet lifted off the floor. He tried to grab something, but all he could reach was his gaming controller. He held onto it tightly as his body floated toward the ceiling. "Help!" he shouted, but no one could hear him. In seconds, Alex and his controller disappeared from the apartment. His computer screen showed his game character standing still, about to lose the match. High above Earth, the Zolaxian research vessel, Specimen Collector, hummed with activity. The ship was large, about the size of a football stadium, with a shiny, metal surface that could bend light around it, making it invisible to Earth's detection systems. Inside the ship, Chief Researcher Xultar watched with satisfaction as the human materialized in the transport chamber. The alien had gray skin, large black eyes, and 4 arms. He wore a uniform covered in blinking lights and strange symbols. "Another successful capture," Xultar said to his assistant, Lieutenant Vexra. "Our sensors detected unusually high brain activity from this human during their primitive electronic interactions." Vexra looked less certain. She was younger than Xultar, with lighter gray skin and a more slender build. "Sir, is it ethical to take beings from their homes without permission? This is the 5th human this month." Xultar made a dismissive gesture with his upper right arm. "Ethics? These are simple creatures, barely intelligent. We study them, learn from them, and return most of them with their memories erased. It benefits science. The High Council approved these missions." "Commander." Zorlak entered the room. He was taller than the others, with dark markings on his face showing his high rank. "Is the specimen secure?" he asked. "Yes, Commander," answered Xultar. "This one appears to be a prime example. Our scans show it was engaged in primitive tactical simulations. Its problem-solving centers were highly active." Zorlak nodded. "Good. Begin tests immediately. We must return to the home system in 14 cycles with our research." Alex lay unconscious on the transport pad. The Zolaxians noticed he was still holding something. "What is that device?" asked Vexra, pointing to the gaming controller in Alex's hand. Xultar scanned it with a small handheld device. "Some kind of primitive input tool for their computing machines. Useless to us. Let the specimen keep it. It might make it more cooperative." 2 robotic drones floated into the room and lifted Alex's body. They carried him down a long corridor lined with glowing panels to a small white room with a clear force field instead of a door. They placed him on a simple bed and left. Xultar made notes on a floating screen. "Prepare the simulation chamber. We'll start with basic intelligence tests, then move to stress responses and tactical evaluations." Vexra looked at the human with curiosity. "This one seems different from the others. Look at its brain patterns even while unconscious." "All humans seem alike to me," Xultar replied. Simple, emotional, and predictable. This will be no different. Alex slowly opened his eyes. His head hurt, and the room was spinning. He sat up carefully and looked around. The walls were smooth and white, glowing with a soft light. There was no visible door, just a shimmer in the air on one side of the room. "Where am I?" he said out loud. His voice sounded strange in the small room. He realized he was still clutching his gaming controller. Without thinking, he put it in his pocket. Alex's mind raced. This wasn't a dream. The room was too detailed, the sensations too real. Years of gaming had taught him to assess new environments quickly. He noticed a small camera-like device in one corner of the ceiling. Someone was watching him. Instead of panicking, Alex felt a strange calm. This was like being dropped into a new game level without instructions. He needed to observe, learn the rules, and find a way to progress. He stood up and approached the shimmering wall. It was some kind of energy barrier. When he moved his hand near it, he felt heat and a slight tingling sensation. "Force field," he whispered, just like in galactic domination. The irony wasn't lost on him. He had spent thousands of hours conquering virtual galaxies, and now he was captured by what appeared to be actual aliens. A section of the wall suddenly displayed strange symbols. They shifted and changed until they formed English words. "Human. Specimen, remain calm. Testing will begin soon." Alex stared at the message, then, to the surprise of the Zolaxians watching him, he smiled. "Testing? Okay," he said, looking directly at the camera. "I'm good at tests. I've beaten every game on the hardest difficulty. Whatever you've got planned, I'm ready." In the monitoring room, Kazultar watched the human's reaction with surprise. Interesting. No fear response. Most specimens show extreme distress upon waking. Vexra studied the readings. Perhaps this one is different. Look at how it's examining its environment. It's analyzing things. All part of the primitive survival instinct. Kazultar dismissed her concern. "Prepare the first test. Let's see how this human handles a simple puzzle." Little did the Zolaxians know that they had just kidnapped perhaps the worst possible human for their experiments. They wanted to test a specimen. Instead, they had captured a master strategist who was already treating his abduction like the ultimate game, and Alex Weber never lost a game. Alex sat on the edge of his bed in the White Room. 3 hours had passed since he woke up. The aliens had run 5 different tests on him. Each test was projected into his room as a hologram he could touch and move. The first test was a simple puzzle where he had to connect shapes. Alex finished it in 2 minutes. The second test asked him to predict how objects would move when pushed. The third test was about finding patterns in alien symbols. Each test got harder, but to Alex they felt like tutorial levels in a video game. "Is that all you've got?" Alex asked the camera in the corner of his room. He wasn't scared anymore. He was getting bored. Behind the scenes, the Zolaxians were surprised. Kazultar checked the test results again. No human had ever solved the 5th test before. Most couldn't even understand it. "Impossible," Kazultar said, his forearms moving in agitation. "Run the tests again. The machine must be broken." Vexra looked at the data. "The machine is working fine. This human is different. Look at how he approaches each problem. He's not guessing. He's using strategy." Kazultar didn't want to admit she was right. "Prepare the advanced tests. Let's see how the specimen handles real challenge." In his room, Alex pulled out his gaming headset from his pocket. The aliens had let him keep it along with his controller. He put it on his head and pressed the power button. To his surprise, it turned on. "Battery still works," he whispered. "I wonder." Alex noticed that when his headset was on, he could hear a faint buzzing sound. It changed when he looked at different parts of the room. When he looked at the force field door, the buzzing got louder. Years of playing with gaming hardware had taught Alex how signals worked. His headset was picking up something from the alien technology. He moved closer to the door and the buzzing formed patterns, almost like words. "It's translating their language," Alex realized. The coincidence was amazing. His gaming headset's wireless system was somehow compatible with the aliens' communication frequencies. When 2 guards came to take him to the next test, Alex kept his headset on. As they walked down the glowing corridor, he could understand bits of their conversation. Human, performing beyond expectations, one guard said. Chief, wants to upgrade to advanced subject, the other replied. They brought Alex to a large room with a round platform in the center. The platform glowed with blue light. Kazultar and Vexra were waiting there. Human specimen, Kazultar said in English. You will now participate in more complex evaluation. Alex nodded. Through his headset, he could hear what Kazultar said next in his own language to Vexra. This simulation will test its tactical abilities. No human has ever completed it. Alex stepped onto the platform. The room around him disappeared, replaced by a virtual landscape. It looked like a battlefield with strange alien buildings and vehicles. Instructions appeared in the air. Defend the central command post using available resources. Alex smiled. This was just like the strategy games he played every day. He quickly analyzed the virtual battlefield, identified the best defensive positions, and began moving units into place. From their observation room, the Zolaxians watched in shock as Alex not only understood the simulation, but mastered it. He anticipated enemy movements before they happened. He used resources in ways the simulation designers hadn't considered. This is unprecedented, Vexra said, watching the humans' progress on their screens. Look at how it handles complex variables. It's almost as if it has done this before. Xultar was both impressed and disturbed. We need to study this specimen more closely. Prepare a brain scan. I want to know what makes this human different. While winning the simulation, Alex was also learning. Each command he gave taught him more about how the aliens thought and how their technology worked. Their battle tactics were advanced but followed patterns he recognized from games. When the simulation ended with Alex's victory, he heard Kazultar say through his headset, "Inform the commander. We're changing this specimen's status from standard to advanced study subject." The guards took Alex back to his room. On the way, they passed another section of the ship. Through a window in the corridor, Alex saw rows of stasis pods. Each pod contained a sleeping human. Other captives, Alex thought. I'm not the only one. Back in his room, Alex sat on his bed and thought about what he had learned. The aliens were called Zolaxians. They were collecting humans for research. They thought humans were simple and not very smart. And most importantly, they had underestimated how much Alex's gaming skills would help him. That night, while Alex slept, the door to his room silently opened. Vexra entered and looked at the sleeping human. She was curious about this strange creature who solved impossible puzzles. She noticed the gaming headset next to his bed. She picked it up and examined it. It seemed like primitive technology, just plastic and simple electronics. She put it back down, not realizing its importance. As she turned to leave, Alex opened his eyes slightly. He watched her go without letting her know he was awake. Another piece of information for later. The next morning, a new test began. This time, the aliens gave Alex control of a small part of the ship's system through the simulation. It was meant to test his ability to manage resources, but they were actually teaching him how their ship worked. Subject shows remarkable ability to manipulate our control interfaces, Kazultar noted. Meanwhile, in the pod room Alex had seen earlier, one of the humans was beginning to wake up. Dr. Samantha Riley, a neuroscientist who had been abducted 3 days before Alex opened her eyes inside her stasis pod. The system had malfunctioned. She looked around in confusion at the alien technology surrounding her. Like Alex, instead of panicking, she began to analyze her situation. Unknown to both humans, their paths would soon cross. And unknown to the Zolaxians, their simple research mission was about to become much more complicated. Alex finished the day's final test and returned to his room. When the guards left, he put on his headset and whispered to himself, "Level 1 complete. Now let's figure out how to beat this game." 5 days had passed since Alex arrived on the alien ship. Each day the tests got harder, but Alex kept winning them. The The Zolaxians were impressed and confused. "How does this human solve these puzzles so quickly?" Kazultar asked, watching Alex. Complete a test that should have taken hours in just 20 minutes. But Alex had a secret. Late at night, when the aliens thought he was sleeping, he practiced with his gaming headset. He discovered he could connect it to the ship's computer system. The connection wasn't strong, but it was enough for Alex to learn more about the ship and its crew. One night, Alex tried something new. He connected his headset to a small panel near his bed. The panel controlled the room's lights and temperature. Alex had watched the guards use it many times. "If I can control the lights," he thought, "what else can I control?" Alex carefully pressed buttons on his controller while wearing his headset. The lights dimmed, then brightened. He tried another combination. The room got warmer. "It's working," he whispered. "The controller is like a key to their system." Meanwhile, in another part of the ship, Dr. Samantha Riley was fully awake in her stasis pod. As a neuroscientist, she understood how to stay calm and observe. She had been studying the aliens through the clear top of her pod. She noticed they checked on her less often than they had at first. During one of these quiet periods, Samantha found a weakness in her pod's locking mechanism. She managed to open it slightly. Not enough to escape, but enough to hear what the aliens were saying. "The male human continues to exceed expectations," one alien said to another as they passed her pod. "Chief researcher wants to begin advanced cognitive testing tomorrow," the other replied. Samantha was surprised. Another human was on the ship, and he was doing well on the aliens' tests. This gave her hope. Back in his room, Alex had made more progress. He discovered that through his headset he could access parts of the ship's communication system. He began to search for information about other humans on board. "There must be a way to find them," he said to himself. That night, Alex had a breakthrough. He found a map of the ship in the computer system. He saw that there was a room with several pods not far from his own. The computer labeled it specimen storage. That must be where they keep the other humans, Alex thought. He needed to find a way to communicate with them. Alex remembered a trick from a hacking game he played last year. He tried to send a signal through the ship's internal communication system to the pod room. In her pod, Samantha heard a strange static sound, then a voice. "Hello? Can anyone hear me? My name is Alex." Samantha couldn't believe it. She pressed her face close to the small opening in her pod and whispered back, "I can hear you. I'm Dr. Samantha Riley. How are you doing this?" Alex was excited to hear a response. "I'm using my gaming equipment to tap into their systems. Are you okay? Are there others?" "Yes," Samantha replied. "There are 5 of us in this room. The aliens run tests on us but keep us in these pods most of the time. I'm going to find a way to get us all out of here," Alex promised. The next day, during his tests, Alex was extra careful to hide what he knew. When Kzultar asked him to manage a simple ship system as part of a test, Alex pretended it was harder than it actually was. He didn't want the aliens to know how much he had learned. "The human is performing well but still within expected parameters," Kzultar reported to Commander Zorlak. Lieutenant Vexra wasn't so sure. "There's something different about this one, the way it watches us. It's like it's studying us while we study it." That night, Alex made a plan. He would use what he had learned about the ship's systems to create a distraction. Then he would try to free Samantha and the others. Through his headset, Alex sent a message to Samantha. "Tomorrow, when they take me for testing, I'm going to trigger an alarm in a different part of the ship. When the guards leave to check it, try to open your pod completely." "How will you do that?" Samantha asked. "I've been playing their game for 5 days," Alex replied. "Now it's time to use some cheat codes." The next morning, when the guards came to take Alex for his tests, he was ready. He had hidden his controller in his pocket. His headset was under his shirt collar, looking like part of his clothes. In the test room, Zultar was waiting with a new simulation. "Today we will see how humans handle emergency situations," he explained. Alex smiled. This was perfect for his plan. As the simulation started, Alex used his controller hidden in his pocket to send a command to the ship's system. In a far section of the ship, the temperature suddenly dropped to freezing, triggering alarms. Emergency. In Section 12, a voice announced over the ship's speakers. All available personnel report to Section 12. Kazultar looked confused. This is not part of the test. He spoke into a communicator. What is happening? As most of the crew rushed to Section 12, Alex used the confusion to access more of the Yao ship's systems through the simulation controls. He found the commands for the specimen storage room and sent a signal to unlock Samantha's pod. In her pod, Samantha heard a click as the lock disengaged. She pushed open the top and climbed out. Quickly, she moved to free the other humans. Lieutenant Vexra was the first to notice something was wrong. She stayed behind while the others went to check the emergency. She watched Alex closely and saw that he wasn't surprised by the alarms. He was expecting them. "Stop the test," she said suddenly. Alex looked up. Their eyes met, and in that moment, Vexra knew that Alex had been playing them all along. But instead of calling for guards, she hesitated. "Why are you doing this?" She asked Alex. "Because kidnapping people is wrong," Alex replied simply. "Would you like it if someone took you from your home to run tests on you?" Vexra had asked herself this question many times. It was why she had been uncomfortable with their mission from the start. "The others will be back soon," she said quietly. "You don't have much time." Alex was surprised. "You're helping me?" Vexra moved to the door. "I'm not stopping you. That's different." As alarms continued to sound throughout the ship, Alex made his move. Using his access to the ship's systems, he prepared for the next level of his plan, taking control of the Zolaxian vessel. The real game was just beginning. Samantha Riley worked quickly. She had freed 3 other humans from their pods. Frank Bennett was a police officer from Chicago. Kate Wilson was a college student studying computer science. Paul Garcia was an electrician. All of them were confused, but ready to fight for their freedom. "We need to move fast," Samantha told them. "Alex bought us some time, but the aliens will figure out what's happening soon." "Who's Alex?" Frank asked. "Another human they captured. He's the one who unlocked my pod," Samantha explained. "He's somehow using their own technology against them." Kate looked around at the alien equipment. "Where are we supposed to go?" "We're in space." "First, we need to find Alex," Samantha said. "He seems to have a plan." Meanwhile, Alex was being taken back to his room under guard. The false emergency had been discovered, and Commander Zorlak was furious. Kazultar had ordered Alex to be locked up while they investigated. As they walked down the corridor, Lieutenant Vexra appeared. "I will take the human back to containment," she told the guards. Once the guards left, Vexra turned to Alex. "Your friends are free. They're looking for you." "Why are you helping us?" Alex asked. Vexra looked troubled. "Our mission was to study, not to imprison. What we're doing is wrong. I've known it from the start." She led Alex down a different corridor. "Your friends are this way, but you should know that Commander Zorlak has ordered the ship to return to our home world immediately. We have less than 1 day before we leave your solar system." Alex nodded. "Then we need to take control of the ship. Can you help us?" "I can show you to the main control room, but after that you're on your own," Vexra said. "I can't directly act against my people." They turned a corner and found Samantha and the others, hiding in a storage room. Alex and Samantha were finally face to face. "You must be the gamer," Samantha said with a smile. "And you must be the scientist," Alex replied. "Good job getting out." Frank stepped forward. "So what's the plan? How do we get home?" Alex pulled out his controller and headset. "With these, I've been learning their systems for days. It's like a complex video game, and I'm pretty good at those." Kate, the computer science student, looked at Alex's equipment with interest. "You're hacking their systems with a gaming controller? That's impossible." "Not hacking exactly," Alex explained. "Their technology responds to the wireless signals from my equipment. It was pure luck, but it works." Alex turned to Vexra. "Where is the main control room?" "2 levels up," she said, "but it's heavily guarded. We'll need a bigger distraction this time," Alex said. He thought for a moment, then smiled. and I know just what to do. Alex used his controller to access the ship's systems again. This time he targeted the ship's artificial gravity. Everyone hold on to something, he warned. Suddenly the gravity in the entire ship turned off. The humans and Vexra grabbed onto nearby fixtures as they began to float. The Zolaxians aren't used to zero gravity, Vexra explained. Their training doesn't cover it because our ships always have artificial gravity. Through the corridors they could hear shouts and crashes as the alien crew floated helplessly. Now's our chance, Alex said. We need to get to the control room. While they're confused, the humans pushed off walls and floated through the corridors following Vexra's directions. They moved faster than the Zolaxians, who were tumbling and spinning in the zero gravity. Humans adapt quickly, Vexra observed. Most species would panic in this situation. We have zero gravity training in our space program, Samantha explained, and some of us have played a lot of space video games. Alex smiled. All those hours playing zero-G fighter were finally paying off in real life. They reached the control room to find it in chaos. 3 Zolaxian crew members were floating helplessly. When they saw the humans, they tried to reach for weapons, but couldn't control their movements. Paul, the electrician, grabbed a weapon from a floating Zolaxian. I'll watch these guys, you figure out how to fly this thing. Alex sat at the main control panel studying the symbols. With his headset on, he could understand some of the labels. Kate floated next to him, quickly learning the alien computer. System. It's similar to Linux in some ways, she said, surprising Alex. You know programming? He asked. Computer science major, she reminded him. Between your gaming skills and my coding knowledge, we might have a chance. Suddenly, an alarm sounded. On a large screen, they could see Commander Zorlak and several guards floating toward the control room. We need to seal the doors, Frank said. Alex found the right controls and locked down the control room. That will hold them for a while, but we need to figure out how to fly this ship back to Earth. As Alex and Kate worked on the controls, Kazultar's voice came over the ship's communication system. Human intruders, you are making a serious mistake. You cannot operate our vessel. Surrender now and you will not be harmed. Alex pressed a button to respond. Actually, we're doing pretty well so far. Maybe humans aren't as simple as you thought. While they talked, Kate discovered the navigation system. I think I can set a course for Earth, she said, but someone needs to operate the engine controls at the same time. Alex nodded. I'll handle that. On my count. 3, 2, 1, now. They pressed the controls together. The ship shuddered, then began to move. On the screen they could see the stars shift as the ship changed direction. It's working, Samantha exclaimed. Outside the control room, Commander Zorlak and his guards were trying to cut through the door with laser tools. Work faster, Zorlak ordered. We cannot allow humans to control our ship. Inside, Alex restored the gravity to normal, giving them better control of the ship. We're heading back to Earth, he announced, but we're not safe yet. Frank looked at the weapons he had collected from the floating Zolaxians. What's our next move? We can't fight the entire crew. Alex thought for a moment. We don't need to fight them all. We just need to keep control of this room until we reach Earth. Samantha looked at the ship's systems. If we can contact Earth and let them know we're coming, maybe they can help us. Good idea, Alex said. He began searching for the communication system. As the ship accelerated toward Earth, the humans prepared for the final confrontation with the Zolaxian crew. The game wasn't over yet, but for the first time, Alex felt like they had a chance to win. The door to the control room was getting hot. Commander Zorlak and his crew were cutting through it with laser tools. Inside, the 5 humans prepared for the final battle. They'll break through in about 10 minutes, Frank said, checking the door. Alex worked quickly at the main controls. We're on course for Earth. We should reach orbit in 30 minutes. That's 20 minutes too late, Paul said, looking worried. Kate was studying the ship's communication system. I think I can send a message to Earth, but who would believe us? They'll think it's a prank. Samantha thought for a moment. Try military frequencies. If anyone is watching the skies for unusual activity, it's them. Kate nodded and began sending a message. This is Kate Wilson aboard an alien vessel. 5 humans have taken control of a ship and are returning to Earth. We need help. Meanwhile, Alex was exploring the ship's database. Look at this, he said to the others. The Zolaxians have been taking humans for decades. They have files on thousands of people. Why are so many of them gamers? Samantha asked, looking at the list. Because gamers have the skills they want to study, Alex explained. We solve problems, adapt quickly, and think strategically. The door was glowing red now. It would not hold much longer. We need a new plan, Frank said. Once they break through, we're outnumbered. Alex looked at all the controls in front of him. He had been treating this whole situation like a game, and it had worked so far. What would he do in the final level of a game? In games, you sometimes have to use the environment against the enemy, he said. What if we hack their own security system to help us? Through his headset, Alex could understand most of the ship's computer system now. He found the security protocols and began changing them. Vexra helped by explaining the parts he didn't understand. There, Alex said finally. I've reprogrammed the ship's security drones to see the Zolaxian crew as intruders. Just as the door began to melt away, they heard a commotion outside. The security drones, small floating robots with stun weapons, had surrounded Commander Zorlak and his guards. What is happening? They heard Zorlak shout. Stand down, security units. But the drones didn't respond to his commands anymore. They were following Alex's instructions. It worked, Paul exclaimed. Not for long, Vexra warned. They will override the security protocols eventually. The drones held off the Zolaxians while the ship continued its journey to Earth. But 10 minutes before reaching orbit, Chief Researcher Kazultar found a way to shut down the drones. They're coming again, Frank warned. And this time they have more guards. The humans looked at each other. They had come so far, but they were running out of options. Then Kate had an idea. What about the stasis pods? Could we use them? Yes, Samantha said. If we can activate the stasis field from here, we could freeze them in place. Alex searched the controls. I think I can do it, but I'll need to redirect power from other systems. Do it, Frank said. We're almost home. Alex typed commands into the alien computer. The lights dimmed as power was diverted to the stasis system. In the corridor outside, a blue field of energy appeared, catching the approaching Zolaxians. They froze in place, unable to move. It won't last long, Alex warned. Maybe 5 minutes. That should be enough, Samantha said. Look. On the main screen, they could see Earth getting closer. They had made it to orbit. The ship's communication system suddenly activated. A voice spoke in English. Unidentified vessel, this is United States Space Command. Identify yourself immediately. Kate answered. This is Kate Wilson. We are 5 humans who were abducted by aliens. We've taken control of their ship and returned to Earth. There was a long pause. Then, stand by for verification. The stasis field was failing. Commander Zorlak and his crew were beginning to move again. We're running out of time, Frank said. Alex had one last idea. I'm going to land this ship now. Do you know how? Paul asked. No, Alex admitted. But I've played plenty of flight simulator games. He took control of the ship and began the landing sequence. The ship shook as it entered the atmosphere. Everyone hold on, Alex called out. This might be rough. On the ground, the U.S. military watched in amazement as the alien ship descended toward a desert area in Nevada. Fighter jets surrounded it, but didn't fire. Alex managed to land the ship with a hard bump. It skidded across the desert floor before coming to a stop. We made it, Samantha said, hardly believing it. Outside, military vehicles surrounded the ship. Soldiers approached with weapons ready. The stasis field failed completely. Commander Zorlak and Chief Researcher Xultar rushed toward the control room, but it was too late. The humans had opened the ship's main door and were walking out with their hands up. Don't shoot, Frank called to the soldiers. We're Americans. The soldiers stared in disbelief as 5 ordinary-looking people walked out of an alien spacecraft. A military officer approached them. Who are you people? What is this ship? Alex stepped forward. My name is Alex Weber. I'm a professional gamer. These aliens kidnapped me to run tests on me, but they made a big mistake. Behind them, Zorlak and Zultar appeared at the doorway but stopped when they saw the military forces. Game over, Alex said to the Zolaxians. 6 months later, Alex sat in a special government facility. He wore a uniform with a new patch. Earth Defense Initiative. Around him, dozens of gamers were being trained to understand alien technology. Samantha entered the room. She was now leading a research team studying the Zolaxian ship. "How's the training going?" she asked. "Pretty good," Alex replied. "Turns out all those hours playing games were the perfect preparation for this job." On a screen nearby, they could see Lieutenant Vexra. She had chosen to stay on Earth as an ally, teaching humans about her people's technology. "The Zolaxians sent a message," Samantha told Alex. "They want their crew and ship back." "What did we tell them?" Alex asked. "That they can have their people back but not the ship, and that if they ever try to take humans again, we'll be ready." Alex smiled. "They kidnapped the wrong gamer." As he said this, his old gaming headset, now connected to advanced alien technology, picked up a strange signal from deep space. New aliens had noticed Earth. The next game was about to begin.